Thanks for joining us here back on Weather Nation as we detail out those top stories all throughout the hour for you. I'm meteorologist Tim Jones.
And I'm meteorologist Kit Cloninger. We've been covering the severe weather around the Central Plains over the last couple of days, Taban, and you were here last night covering some of those extreme severe thunderstorms that we saw in places like Nebraska, where we have our field meteorologist Tim Jones out there right now. And Tim, you've been talking to some of the farmers in the area about the damage that was done. Can you give us some more detail on that?
Well, the biggest thing is, Kid and Taban, is that a lot of the crops are decimated. We got in that real critical part of the growing season where the crops, the beans, the corn have sprouted, and what we call tender vegetation. At least those are my terms for it, or my words, and 6 to 12 inches in height, where it was really, really critical to that growing season to get those out of the ground and get them growing to get through the growing season. You can see this field behind me here is wiped out. This isn't the only field. It's all over central Nebraska, and you can see how that hail, anywhere from golf ball size hail to up to baseball or softball size hail around the state, has just wiped out. That means more planting. And I talked to one of the local farm brokers here that deals with farmers day in and day out, and here's what he had to say about the stage of where the crops are at right now.
So my wife and I were sitting in the living room trying to monitor the storm best we could. Still snuck up on us somehow. All of a sudden we were getting hail and wind. It seemed to come out of nowhere, even though we were kind of expecting it. So we rounded up the 15-month-old that was sleeping, got everybody down to the basement, and hoped nothing horrible happened.
Yeah, that's kind of the way it was. These storms were well forecast, but again, sometimes, even though you know storms are in the forecast, it can happen that they still, you don't expect them to be as bad as they are. And even though I've been around Hastings and some of the larger communities around here, we still, and the damage wasn't that bad, we still had over 350 damage reports, including tornado reports, but the most prevalent reports were wind and hail. And you can see not just in Nebraska, but also Kansas and other surrounding states. So let's take a look at that radar from last night, because it really shows you how widespread the storm coverage was in south central Nebraska. And there's damage all the way over by Highway 81, which I should point that way. That's about 60, 70 miles off to my east. And that took out, what I'm understanding from the local National Weather Service office, there's a swath from about Interstate 80 to the southeast through McCool Junction and beyond, where the corn looks like this or worse, where there's 12 to 14 miles, that's right, miles of crops that are wiped out. That's happening over there. That's happening back to my west, and it's all where these storms hit. And again, we have severe weather in the forecast tomorrow, but Kit, it doesn't look quite, Taban, it doesn't look quite as bad tomorrow as what we had last night, thankfully.
Yeah, Tim, thank you so much for joining us. Of course, we do have that next threat of severe weather coming up. Taban, you'll talk about that in just a few minutes with us. But let's go ahead and get out to Viper radar. Fortunately, we've got a bit of a break for some of the cleanup there across Nebraska and Kansas, and then we'll see another round in just another day. Currently, severe thunderstorms in parts of the deep south. So we've got here around the Little Rock area, we've got a new severe thunderstorm warning we want to bring to your attention as well. This is coming right to the I-40 corridor or so, where we see the potential for some damaging winds, maybe some large hail with that as well. So details on that is 60-mile-per-hour winds forecast to be with this storm. Also about penny-sized hail, so that's about 3/4 of an inch. So non-severe hail, but still fairly strong winds. We can look from the Little Rock radar, get us a better picture at this thunderstorm. Let's zoom in really close here. Little Rock, County of Pulaski, Arkansas, also Faulkner County, and moving out of Perry County, Arkansas is where we have this. So let's take a look at the local velocities here. I'll get a little bit closer in, see what some of these returns are showing. So that shows about 46 miles per hour. Let's switch over to the storm relative. So yeah, so it's just moving about 46 miles per hour inbound. But the thing is, we can see when we have that 46 up in the storm, it can translate down to the surface and sort of spread out and accelerate a little bit. So that's likely why we have that severe thunderstorm warning in this area. Moving out a little bit farther towards the southeast, we see here in northern Alabama, another severe thunderstorm warning in this area for the Hamilton area. This is Marion County, Alabama, until 1:30 p.m. We also have the chance for severe weather across the Ohio River Valley, where We've got a couple more severe thunderstorm warnings right now around the Indiana area, close to Indianapolis as well. So possibly some large hail moving around the North Vernon area. So that's Jennings County, Indiana, and then also moving close to the Indianapolis metro, Morgan and Hendricks County. So that's the detail on Viper radar. If we didn't get to your area, we'll get to it a little bit later on, but take a look at some of the damage from Kansas. Yeah, more fires across the Southwest as we've seen the heat, the dry conditions have been persistent over the last several weeks. Now, the black fire is making a run at number 2 in state history for New Mexico. Now, notice they're only about 1,000 acres away from that, and it's less than 50% contained, so we're likely going to be seeing the largest and the second largest in the same year. Now, forecast rainfall, we are getting some rain, which is going to help areas outside of the active fires, but whenever we get rain on a burn scar, like around the Hermit's Peak fire, that can lead to rapid flash flooding because whenever you have ash and debris left over from a fire, it does not like to mix with water, and so you get mud flows, debris flows very easily with these. Unfortunately, we do have a severe weather risk in this area, which means we could see the potential for some lightning with some of these thunderstorms, which could spark off new fires. Fortunately, the fire conditions aren't favorable for rapid fire spread today, but we're still going to see a lot of heavy rainfall in some of those places where we could see some flash flooding. We'll have your West Regional next. Yeah, pretty wild to see all of the damage that's been done here. Look at all of those branches that have been stripped from those trees. You see large branches and parts of trees that have been taken off the trunk. So, of course, we'll have to wait for the National Weather Service to come through and survey this. This is just getting word from my producer. This was a confirmed EF1 tornado. So the National Weather Service has gone out and done that survey, it seems. So whenever we see damage like that, we always have to wait to get that confirmation from the National Weather Service. We've got a high pressure ridge that's going to be building in, bringing some upper level winds across the Central Plains as we head into Thursday. So we're going to see another chance for some severe weather as we head into the next couple of days. These are areas that have already seen that severe weather. We're in the cleanup mode today. It's been good weather for that. We're going to see another round of severe weather potential tomorrow. This is an update on that tornado potential. We're seeing an expanded risk still from central Nebraska through Kansas out even into the Fort Smith, Fayetteville area of Arkansas. We could see an isolated tornado threat. Now, we also have a pretty significant hail threat. We could see 2-inch diameter hail with some of those vigorous updrafts as well. So that could cause some damage around the McCook area. We see it at least on this model. Now, it's only a model. It's going to show just one path, but it could be any of a handful of paths. We'll have to keep an eye on this as we head into the actual time frame of those storms to see where that hail actually does set up. Significant wind threat also present from the panhandle of Texas through central Kansas, so we could still see the potential for some more damaging winds. Now, Taban, some areas like in Hastings, Nebraska, saw a lot of damage from not only just the wind and hail, but also some flooding in the area.